What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Nintendo Friends, where we talk about everything gaming, but mostly Nintendo. I am your host, Hector, and with me, as always, is my co-host and fellow gamer, Abel. How are you doing today, Abel?
What is up, guys? I'm doing great. Man, we got a stacked panel today, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we do. This is going to be a wonderful show. So, returning, we have Professor Aaron, the Pokemon Professor. How you doing, Aaron?
Doing just fine. As you can see, I'm in my Pokemon lab right now, ready to spread some Pokemon love and Pokemon facts.
That's right, in the lab cooking. We also have two new special guests joining us. We have Azzy, who is a streamer. How you doing today, Azzy?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Ready to talk about my favorite Pokemon.
Your outfit is so cute. We love it. We welcome it.
Hey, thank you, thank you.
And we also have Lynn. Lynn, how you doing?
Hi. Good evening. I'm doing pretty good.
Nice, nice. We're so happy to have you guys on the show. Now, Azzy, you can find her streaming channel at Azura Blade 41, and for Lynn, you can find her at Lynn Loves Games, and both of their channels are wonderful. You should follow them because they are great, wonderful people who are awesome to watch. So links will be down in the description below. But welcome, guys. Welcome. I am so excited to talk about what we're going to talk about. This is our Pokemon-centered podcast. As you can see, I got the fit on. I look like Ash. I got my favorite Pokemon game and Pokemon behind me, if you can see that. But we're going to be talking about all things Pokemon. So I am super excited for this show. So you guys ready to get started?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. So what I want for this podcast is the people know kind of where Abel and I stand on a lot of these things. But there are going to be some new topics we're going to be talking about. So we're going to take a little bit of a step back. We want to hear you guys' thoughts, how you guys feel, your opinions. I know we've all had some experience with all of these topics today. So first off, since this is our Pokemon-centered podcast, and because we have newish people on the show, we want to talk about how we got into Pokemon and our favorite Pokemon game. So, without further ado, Professor Aaron, can you tell us how you got into Pokemon, and what is your favorite Pokemon game? While I take this thing off, because it's hot. For all your listeners wearing the fit, but go ahead.
You're about to burn into ash. That's how
For
hot
real.
you are.
No
Yes.
joke.
Well, thank you. Once again, I'm happy to be here. I really enjoyed last time. I'm definitely glad to be back. And so I'm an oldie, and I remember watching an episode on TV of the original Pokemon series, the Indigo League. I verified this with Hector. It was a kid to talk about. The very first episode I ever saw was the episode from the first season where Ash has to challenge this kid who has a Sandshrew, and he has to fight 100 battles before he goes on to do the league. And I remember his Sandshrew having the leather daddy harness, making him super strong. And maybe that was formative, who knows, but I don't know. And ever since, I was so excited to play the game. I remember seeing the commercials where all the Pokemon get onto the bus and get crushed by the crusher, and advertising the red and blue. And blue was my first game, and I've been playing pretty much ever since. And for my favorite game, that is a little tricky. But I think, and this is probably controversial, I think it would have to be actually Pokemon. Pokemon. Oh, which one did I play? Hold on. Now I can't remember. Oh, Pokemon Black. Because with fifth gen, I feel like there was a bit of Pokemon fatigue after Gen 4. And when Gen 5 came out, there were no original Pokemon. There were no old Pokemon. They were all original. So it was almost like capturing that original 151 magic all over again, and starting with a brand new series, not knowing what these Pokemon were. And it was just very exciting to play that, and I had a lot of fun with it. And the animations were a lot of fun too in those sprites.
Couldn't
Awesome.
agree more. I love the Black and White series.
Same.
Yeah, Abel and I have a disagreement. Not that I hate black and white. I just don't like the starters. Seems I'm outnumbered today, which is
You
fine.
are very much outnumbered.
Or
Hey, it's the first time for everything. Everybody's got their opinions. But thank you so much, Professor Aaron. I appreciate that. Azzy,
Hmm.
why don't you go next? Well, how did you get into Pokemon, and what is your favorite Pokemon game?
How I got into Pokemon was actually in high school. I had a friend that had a Game Boy that he would just, while we were in class, he just never paid attention. And I would just watch him from over his shoulder, and I'm like, guys, dude, bro, sword dance, come on, get the boots. And he just wouldn't listen, and he just kept wiping. I was like, give me the game. I'm about to show you how it's done. So I initially how I got started playing was Pokemon Leaf Green. Um, and obviously my starter was a Bulbasaur at first, but he eventually he's like, you know what, just keep the game, you can have it. And ever since then I've played a lot of the generations. I do have to say, uh Pokemon Platinum was my go-to whenever it did get come out, because I was just like, okay, there's a little bit more variety, but there's also a little bit in the twist of the story.
Awesome. Um, I haven't played Platinum. I started it. You said Platinum, right? Okay. I really like Diamond and Pearl. And so like it's just what I hear is a better version of that. Is that right? Am I in the right?
Essentially, yes.
Sort of the
Essentially,
way
yeah.
that Crystal is with Gold and Silver,
And yellow
things
with
like
the
that.
original.
Yeah.
Yep.
But man, like
Man, I love you
that's
guys. you, y'all have all the. I love Platinum. I love Black and White. Those are like some of my favorite games.
yeah, he's always going on and on about them. But Lynn, tell us, how did you get into Pokemon, and what is your
Uh,
favorite Pokemon game?
I want to say I'm a very indecisive person. That's one thing about me. But how I got into Pokemon, I will say when I was younger, like my mom had a whole bunch of VHS tapes, so I watched Pokemon the first movie like a million times. I love Pikachu's Vacation. I love all of that. But it was my ninth birthday when my dad took me to the pawn shop. I got my first lime green Game Boy Color, and I got Pokemon Silver with it. That was my first game. Fell in love, absolutely fell in love with it. Is it my favorite? Probably not. Only because there's just so many contenders, especially if we're talking about like all games aside from just the mainline games. Like, because if so, Pokopia winner for sure. Like, I love Pokopia, which I know we're gonna talk more about that later. But I mean, even if we're just talking about mainline games, still there's just so many contenders. Like Black and White, for example. I got Black. Um, those are some of my favorites, just because the uniqueness of the cities, I think. Black really drew me in, of course, because Reshiram looked really freaking cool. But also just Black City. I liked the idea of like the futuristic looking city with like the tall skyscrapers, which we really hadn't seen in any Pokemon games prior till then. So I was really drawn to that. And then we had X and Y being the first games to go 3D. So those ended up being like some of my most anticipated Pokemon games. I also really loved how Legends Arceus was kind of like a blast from the past. We don't really get to see a lot of Pokemon content set in that timeline, so I thought that was really cool, really nice and refreshing. Oh, and shout out to Sun and Moon also, because that was Mimikyu's first appearance. But to be honest, just because Silver was my first game, I'd probably end up choosing Soul Silver, just because it was like soul nostalgic for me at the time. And also, I just love that I could have my first Pokemon, like the first Pokemon in my party, just follow me around everywhere the whole game. I think that was just something that was just so cute and unique to Soul Silver and Heart Gold that I don't think anything can beat that for me. So
So your favorite Pokemon game is all of them?
all of them, all of the above.
No, I mean
Yeah,
like
they're
how
just
can you choose? How can you
right,
choose?
like they're just so good.
Oh man, yeah. So
The cold
I
color
definitely understand.
spectrum.
Yeah, and I also feel like it's a different Pokemon now. Uh, now that Pokemon is what 30 years old,
Oh
there's a
yeah.
different Pokemon game for different moods. We strayed away from the mainline Pokemon games, and now there's so many spin-offs, so many, and just to fit your vibe. And so, like, we're very fortunate. We're living in a very fortunate time that we get to have. We get to have the games we grew up with and more. now. So, really quick, I want me and Abel, because I know you guys haven't heard, but our audience and the people who watch our videos, our viewers and listeners, have already heard us talking to the ground. But I do want to take a little bit to share mine and Abel's favorite. Abel, you want to go next, just real quick?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. So, how I was first introduced to Pokemon, I mean, as far as I can recall memories, I just,
Real
my
quick,
sister.
real quick, real
Oh,
quick.
oh,
A
Phil's coming on.
wild flying Hawaiian Phil has appeared.
Where is he?
He spawned in the
He's loading.
in the
He's
grass.
loading.
He's loading. He's in the ether somewhere.
And anyway, when he comes in fully, he'll go ahead and we'll have him share. But go ahead, Abe. I'm so sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So yeah, my how I was introduced to Pokemon was I can remember Pokemon as far back as, I mean, just memories for me in general. So, but I think the first ever Pokemon game I played was my cousin gave me a copy. He had all of the Pokemon games, and so really he would just kind of hand them down whenever he was done with them, which was a great deal for me. But the first game that I ever got to play was a game that he handed down to me, of the main series games, anyways, and that was Pokemon Ruby. So that was Gen 3, and I have such a soft spot for Gen 3, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, specifically Ruby. Although I will say Emerald is the best game of that generation for sure. But Ruby, I have a soft spot for, but just because, I mean, at the time he gave it to me, I was about 7 years old. I didn't know, I mean, I knew Pokemon, but I never played a main series game for myself. I love the color red. It's my favorite color. So I just, I right away, I was like, this game is cool. The cartridge was cool. And so I played the heck out of that game, and I adored it. And ever since then, was a full Pokemon fan. My favorite Pokemon game, I can't remember who said it. I think Azzy, I think it was you, but Platinum, for sure is my favorite Pokemon game. I love that game so much. I enjoyed Diamond and Pearl for what they were, but Platinum was really just like such a step above it. The way the story interconnects. I mean, it's an older game. I don't want to give out too many spoilers, but the distortion world is amazing. Just so many great. The music is amazing in that franchise. Yeah, I just adore Pokemon Platinum. So I gotta give that one as my favorite game.
Scoreboard, another one for platinum.
There,
Score.
Abel, because there was something special about. I think it's in the trailer technically. Seeing Giratina's wings spread in that art style.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
The animation was just so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that, Abel. Even though I've heard it 1,000 times.
It never gets tired.
It never gets old. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Phil, thank you for joining us.
All the time.
Thank you for joining us, Phil. Are you able to talk?
I am. I'm just muted right now because I'm doing stuff.
Okay, perfect. So we're talking about just how we got into Pokemon and what your favorite Pokemon game is, just real quick.
I don't know, man. There are a lot of good games out there. I really like Pokemon Stadium. Very fun.
All right, one for the 64.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I'm not saying that's my favorite, but it should be up there. But I guess there's some recency bias. I do like Pokemon ZA Legends. Even if I'm in the minority, wonderful game.
I don't think you're in the minority here, man.
Good.
You're not in the minority. It's actually funny because my husband is playing it right next to me.
Amazing.
Wonderful. I guess I'll go last, of course, but my favorite, how I got into Pokemon, it's kind of crazy. So anime and the game, they go hand in hand. I remember it was the anime first for me. All of my friends were watching it, and two of my best friends from childhood, I've known them ever since we were born because our parents were, groomsmen and bridesmaids, like each other's best man and stuff. So I've known them a long time, and so they got Game Boys, and we watched it every time I went to their house, and then they gave me their their Game Boy, and so I picked up Pokemon Blue in 1999 and or 98 it was, and I just fell in love. I, that was the first game I think I was fully immersed in. I like to mention that I played like Mario Bros. And Contra and Legend of Zelda, like, and those were fun games. But I knew I was playing a game. I knew I wasn't Mario. I wasn't Link. I wasn't the Contra guys. I don't know their names. But I when I picked up Pokemon Blue, I was the trainer. I was catching these Pokemon, and it was just so immersive and just so like I got so lost in it, and I fell in love instantly. And my favorite game is Pokemon Blue, the first one. So a lot of people say like, "Oh, is it Pokemon Blue or Red? Isn't it the same game as Yellow?" It's like yes and no because I like the exclusive Pokemon in Pokemon Blue more, a little bit more. And also Blastoise is my favorite Pokemon, so come on, I had to. So yeah, and I ever since I got a Game Boy Color, I have it here. I have the Game Boy, what is it, Pokemon Blue in here. So, but yeah, that is my favorite game. Then that is my favorite Pokemon memory, favorite game of all time, favorite soundtrack. So you gotta love it, right? So. All right, on to the next topic, you guys. So next we're going to be talking about Phil and Azzy. I'm glad you guys mentioned Pokemon Legends ZA because that's the next topic on today's podcast. So if you can give us your spoiler-free thoughts and opinions, whether it be gameplay, story, performance, graphics, what have you, just what you want to talk about with Legends ZA. Azzy, I know that you just picked this game up recently. Aaron too, as well. And I would love to hear your thoughts. So, Azzy, if you can go first, what do you think? What are your thoughts, spoiler free, of Pokemon Legends ZA?
Honestly, I love it. I love how Pokemon has adjusted to the concept of free roam open play. Um, Essentially you can control the main how you progress in the story, like how you choose to level up, how you choose to train and raise your Pokemon, where in the you explore it. It's so interactive. I never get bored of it, honestly. Like even if I finish the story, I know I'm going to be going back just to be going around like which one did I miss? Did I catch this Pokemon? No, I'm missing this one. Dang, okay, so now we got to go back and do this. There's like so much to do. There's so much to like do, and I love how interactive it is, like with your Pokemon in detail itself.
Are you one of those people that has to fill the Pokédex?
I am a Master Dex, yes.
Yes. We
So
love
what
that.
I
We welcome
like,
that here.
what I love to do is I love to create a living dex. So I'll catch three types of the same Pokemon. If they have three evolutions, I'll catch them and evolve them into each stage of the evolution and just keep them there. If they have two, then just the two. But I like to create a master living dex because I love how it when I organize everything, I just see the progression of each Pokemon's evolution stage.
That's really neat. I've never heard of that before. That's actually really cool. I love to hear that different people play games. Some people do Nuzlocks, some people do things differently than I do, right? So, or that
I
you
honestly
might.
I honestly thought about doing Nuzlocke once I managed to figure out how to hook the rest of my games up for my stream.
And you stream on PC, right?
I Yes, I am on PC, but I also have a capture card. I just gotta find the connectors to attach my consoles and everything.
Do you have a Poke MMO?
We can't emulate.
Mm.
Yeah, I've heard. I think Aaron told me about that, or somebody told me about Pokemon M.
It's
No,
pretty.
not me. I think it was Lynn.
It might have been
Might have
me.
been
I did.
Lynn.
I did a Nuzlocke challenge on there with my friend once, and that was devastating.
Now, I have heard creative games about Pokemon Infinite Fusion that's like mod made. That one is a good game, but I'm limited to what I can really play because you don't want to cause a situation of like, did you actually buy that game?
Yeah, we don't want Nintendo coming for us and tearing down our pot.
Oh no!
Our
Oh,
podcast.
Like big old X.
We went down.
Like one by one. Pew, 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 just like coming through
Strike.
it. The Nintendo Ninja's coming through my window. But no, but Aaron, I know you recently picked this one up as well. Tell us your thoughts so far on Pokemon Legends EA.
It definitely feels like a Legends game because it does have it still feels like Legends Arceus. You're still a character walking around. I know the game got a bit of flack compared to Legends Arceus because, you know, Arceus had a big, expansive world with different biomes and things, and it can feel a little limiting being in one city, that being Lumios, which is based on Paris with the big old with the tower in the middle. But as I've been playing it, I actually one thing I really appreciate is how they limit your exploration by progressing through the story. So you won't have all the regions available to catch new Pokemon until you get further along, and certain areas won't be accessible until you've gotten a little further in the game. You've learned a few new mobility tricks to get further and higher and everything in your areas. And I appreciated that from a game design standpoint. That even though you're in this city, that you can technically walk every single street, there are just certain areas you cannot get to, like whether it be between buildings, on top of buildings, that everywhere could be that new random shiny or that new random alpha, like they had in the previous game. And I really appreciate that. And then I also really enjoy the models in this one. They definitely shine them up, and they're definitely feeling a lot more alive in this one. I've noticed a couple of times during certain missions, a trainer will have a Pokemon and they'll be talking about it. There was one where someone was requesting a Vanillite, and it's just little ice cream cone, and they're talking about it, and how the camera angle look, the Vanillite is just looking like eyes are kind of slanted upwards at the trainer who's talking about it. And it's like they didn't do that in the other games. It felt a lot more personable.
Yeah, I had noticed that too. They gave the Pokemons a little bit more personality. They gave
Definitely.
much emotes, like they're just emotion, and like I even with the main player, I feel like it's much more animated than Arceus was. Arceus was just like, and then it would go back to like the regular face, whereas like this one is more like, there's more nuance in all of these characters' faces and stuff like that. But Lynn, have you had a chance to play ZA yet?
I have not. Unfortunately have not had the pleasure of getting to play it quite yet, but that's because that's my fault. I am a bit behind on my Pokemon games. I put Sword off for a few years, honestly, after I started gaming on PC. That was like really what I was stuck on for a while. But then last year when I heard about Pokopia, I was like, okay, I gotta get a Switch 2 first of all. So I got that, and I was like, I need to finish Sword. I need to finish Legends Arceus. I need so that way I can play Violet, and then I would allow myself to play Legends CA. I have to do it that way. So I
You're
gotta
playing
catch up.
through Violet right now?
I am playing through Violet right now. I just started it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Nice.
for us, Violet, well, for me anyway, had the potential to be probably one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. The graphics held it back. It really did. I know on Switch 2 they patched it up. It's smoother. Phil's shaking his head because he's never had to go through that. He's never had to play Violet on the original Switch and how it just chugs and chugs and chugs.
Now I can speak as someone who did play Violet on the original Switch, and let me tell you, there are some points where it would very much detract from the experience on the original Switch, playing on the original Switch, and I'll get into my point about ZA2, but yeah, I just wanted to chime in there and say, yeah, I was one of those individuals that played Violet on the OG Switch, and there are definitely some moments where you're like, this is not pretty looking.
It's and it's
The
not.
Sunflora mission.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
the
it's
subfloor
terrifying the
Blinded
way they were.
person.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, Lynn, I don't know if you're there yet, but you'll get there.
No, I just started it, so I can't.
Honestly, I still have my original Switch, and that's what I'm playing ZA on, and I still have both copies of Violet and Scarlet. I do agree with the graphics. It was very touchy because you'd go to one region and it's like, what are you doing?
It it really did distract. And it became a problem to where and I know Phil has spoken on this before. He's a firm believer that gameplay can trump how a game looks. However, with Violet and Scarlet, Phil, you got to take our word for it. It really was distracting. It really did take away from that experience. Did we hate the game? No, of course not. I love that game. I love a lot of things. One of my favorite things in that game, being a Latino, is this Violet and Scarlet had in the menu when you would go to a cafe chorizo and egg, and nobody was talking about that. I was like, how is nobody talking about there's chorizo and egg in this Pokemon game? Like, because I think it takes place in like Spain or something, but like, but as you know, growing up, I'm like it took 20 something years, but I'm finally able to see chorizo and egg in a Pokemon game, and so you know
I was hyped up when I found that. I was like, yes, finally.
Thank you.
Finally.
And then Fuecoco, I love Fuecoco. He's my little. And then when he turned into Crocalor, I was like, Crocalor. Oh, oh, you know? And so I love Violet and Scarlet. I love a lot of aspects of those games. I love a lot of things about that game. The way that it ran, the way that it performed just was really unfortunate. But Legends ZA ran a little bit better. They also the art style kind of like made that run smoother. It was a little Breath of the Wild pastel looking type thing. And then with Pokemon Legends ZA, they went back to 3D renders, you know, the art style. And you know what? On Switch 2, it performs pretty good. It ran pretty well. I know Abel, I know you've talked about it before, but can you just speak a little bit of the performance and how it ran and your experience with Pokemon Legends ZA on the original Switch OLED?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna lead into anyway on just my thoughts on it. Pokemon ZA. I have not finished it yet, but I've played through a good amount of it. I would say I'm a little over halfway there, which is the main storyline. But as far as experiencing it on the Switch, it's definitely a step up from Scarlet and Violet for sure, and even a step up from Legends Arceus. There are times where you know, at the beginning, some of these graphical issues were super noticeable and kind of already, you know, I came into it a little bit expecting to be a tad bit disappointed. And so when those things did pop up here and there in the beginning of my playthrough, I was already kind of bummed about it. But as I progressed and as I got more into the actual game itself and sort of enjoying it for what it actually is and what it does offer, the graphical things became a lot less distracting. And you know, I think it was more so as a player, I had to shift my focus away from those things and focus on what the game was offering me, as opposed to, you know, things like that. And in doing so, and kind of shifting my perspective while I was playing it, it opened up the game a whole lot more, and I found myself enjoying it a lot more as I progressed through it. But just kind of piggybacking on what people are saying too, I appreciate how expressive it is. It is a lot more expressive than in terms of Pokemon, in terms of the actual people as well. The NPCs, I think, are done better in this game. There's just more personality there, and it's good. You need that personality from the settings from those around you, the Pokemon from the environment, well, from those in the environment, because at times the environment can seem a little restricted, because you are in just Lumio City, and so you kind of need the things within the environment, the elements within the environment, the characters, the Pokemon, all these things to sort of pick up the slack for the fact that you are just in that. And I think ZA does a good job of that. And with the graphics, I do want to just also point out that I feel like it's more of a gripe on Nintendo themselves, because I know Nintendo and Game Freak, they have amazing developers. They have a great team, and I know they have the capability of producing a really graphically solid, amazing looking game. I believe that Game Freak has the ability to do that. And so I guess more of my gripes with the graphics of ZA and maybe the past couple Pokemon games is, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, Nintendo, I know we can do it. I know we can have a good graphically amazing game. We see it with other franchises, we see it with other games as well. There's no need to rush, the development, or for whatever reason why these games have come out a little bit lacking graphically. Less so Pokemon ZA, and more so talking like Scarlet and Violet, and Arceus. But I feel like, Nintendo has the ability to do it. And so I'm hoping, and I know we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but with Wind and Wave, I'm hoping that they take that next step to just further, improve upon the graphics, because I am seeing an improvement as each game is getting released. From Scarlet and Violet, onward, the games that are coming out are looking nicer. And ZA, it's not super distracting for me overall with the game experience. So yeah.
Hey Abel, what's your hypothesis as to why they haven't produced like a better looking video games recently?
I really don't know. I don't know if it's timing, if they're trying to just meet deadlines, if it's I don't know if it's like higher ups at Nintendo that are sort of getting in the developers' ways, and stuff like that. I really don't know
We'll get
internally
to that. We'll get to
what the
that as well,
issue, right,
later on.
what the issue might be, but there's a
But
lot of room for speculation.
yeah, there's a few things that I want to think. Also, Phil,
That's just cheating. Sorry, my husband just caught a Dragonite or a Dragonair. I'm jelly. I'm jelly.
I was like, I'm sorry. Phil, do you want to speak a little bit on Legends EA? I know if anybody wants to go see Phil's thoughts, you can go to our channel and look at our shorts, and his thoughts are on there. But just for everybody here on the podcast today, for those who haven't heard your thoughts, would you speak a little bit to that?
Absolutely. Before I get into Pokemon ZA, I do want to talk about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. First off, I'm going to take your word on the distractions in that game because I haven't played it myself. So I accept that's very distracting. Now let's go to Pokemon ZA, the game that I actually have played. And Lynn, I know you said you were behind a few generations on Pokemon. I am very behind. I think I've only been up to like generation 3 or 4, and then off and beyond that, I've just been following other people who've been keeping up with Pokemon. So don't feel too bad. But thankfully, Hector has allowed me to play Pokemon ZA Legends, and I was able to contrast that from that game to playing like the older Gen 1, Gen 2 video games. And I felt like, I'll keep it brief because I didn't play it that long, but I felt that it did a good job at getting rid of all the absurdities that used to exist in like the earlier generations. Still, I still had a great time playing those games. But the idea of throwing a Pokeball, it doesn't catch the Pokemon, and then you lose it was always something that I felt like was ridiculous. The idea that Pokemon can only use a certain move a certain amount of times and then it just can't for whatever reason. I think there was some logic behind it. I just didn't like it. The idea of like you can only learn 4 Pokemon moves and then you have to permanently forget a move. I hated
That
that.
that yes.
Yeah. And I love how smooth the gameplay is with the current battle system. Like you in the earlier games, you can always spam like your most powerful moves. Like yes, I'm gonna fire blast or flamethrower or hydro pump. But like in these games, like you can use Ember, and then while that's cooling down, you can use Leer, a move that people just don't bother using, even though it's a really good and underrated move. I loved it. Had a great time playing it, and I hope I can play some more later. By the way, I don't know about you guys, when I name my characters in these kind of video games, I never use my real name. I always want to use something different. So when I was playing Pokemon ZA Legends, I was a female character, and my name was Lady Liberty. So it'd be like, Lady Liberty is about to beat up this character. Lady Liberty just attacked this Pokemon. It felt dope.
Sweet Liberty, my leg.
Yeah, it was fun.
Also, in Hogwarts Legacy, he named his he modeled his player after Donna from that '70s show.
What I name my character in
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
It wasn't Phil.
It wasn't Phil. But when we were playing a game called what was that poetry game?
Which game?
The poetry game, the weird one with the girls in the club.
Oh, wait. You're talking about the Doki Doki Literature Club.
Yeah, that one. I was Mega Man in that game. Yep. I'm just weird like that.
Another incredible game, Doki Doki
Yes.
Literature Club. For anybody who hasn't played it, don't look up anything about it. Just play it.
Okay, I like
But
that.
it is
I
rated
haven't
M.
played it yet.
It is rated M for mature, so those of us who can play that game, play that game. It is a 10 out of 10 experience. But it's not for the weak-willed, just so you know. But anyway, look at Phil. But thank you, Phil. I appreciate your thoughts. That was everybody very eloquently put on Legends EA. Let's go ahead and go to the next topic, Pokemon Pocopia. This is a new game that is going on. Lynn, you're going to be the first one to talk about this. So, but before we get into my thoughts, I want to hear from Lynn. Lynn, can you give us your spoiler-free thoughts from Pokemon Pocopia? I know you finished the story, so let us know. Is this a game worth picking up? Is this a game worth picking up a new console for?
Well, as one of the people who paid $570 for this game, I say yes first. Because I didn't have a Switch 2 before then. I didn't really have a reason to. I was like really PC gaming for the most part. Or also just taking a break from gaming, period. But then, as soon as I found out about Pocopia, I was like, okay, I have to get a Switch 2. Like, there's just no way. Like, I'm looking at this game that's literally Minecraft, Animal Crossing, and Pokemon all together in one. Like, there's no way I can't not play this game. So, I did get a Switch 2, like, in January. Like, and I was just waiting, literally just waiting. And then took the day off work to play it. So, super excited to play that. I'm a huge fan of open world survival craft, so anything with building and getting to be creative, that's the kind of game that I love. So I was really excited about it. But what I love most about it is just seeing the Pokemon come to life, to be honest. I know that some of the mainline games in the past have introduced things like little shows or camps where you could like cook for and play with your Pokemon and stuff like that. So we got to see their personality a bit there, but I feel like it's just on another level with Pocopia, just to kind of see them all with their unique personality. Some of them have like a little country accent, like they just all like unique and really, really funny, to be honest. And getting to see them run around and interact with each other, you just kind of get to see them in a new light, versus just like before you just kind of see them in battle or play with them a little bit in the mainline game. But so I do like that, and I think that because we get to see them in a new light, full of life. I absolutely love that. Personally, it seems to be giving me like a new appreciation for Pokemon that I didn't really care for before. Like Graveler, for example. I absolutely hated Graveler. Like Graveler, I was a hater on him for no reason for years, like since I was a kid. And I think it was just because I hated cave Pokemon. I hated caves, period. Like they're just so annoying. Having to use Flash And then you run into Graveler, who's just going to use a rollout or self-destruct on you, and I just, oh my god, no. But then he comes into Pokopia, and he's just like this chill dude. He's like funny, he's cute, and probably one of the most useful Pokemon in the whole game, in my opinion. So I really kind of grew to love him, along with Roly-Coly, Karkle, and Trubbish, which I didn't really care for those Pokemon before, but now like I adore them, especially Karkle. That's my little baby. I love Karkle. So yeah, I love that we get to kind of see Pokemon in a different lens, I guess, with this game. So
Awesome. I can't wait to get more into this. But Aaron, Professor Aaron, what are your thoughts on Pokemon Pokopia, and what is your experience with it?
I appreciate Lynn's appreciation about that too, because I felt the exact same way. I love that even though you may meet Pokemon from the same evolution line, and they will be two different personalities because they're literally two different. They're two different beings. They're one Bulbasaur and one Ivysaur are gonna be talking differently because they're not the same person like we would see in the games where we just run through. I know when he was talking about Graveler, I had also had a feeling it was partly because I think a lot of the mid-level trade evolutions don't get as much respect because they're literally just meant to be traded and evolved, and then you never see them again. And I think aside from Haunter, which is a fan favorite, all the middle evolutions don't get as much. But then I one of my favorite memories so far in that game. I was in I think the third region, and I met a Machamp and a Machoke, and they were having a conversation together, talking about how much they love flexing in front of each other, and I'm like, that is, oh my goodness! It's like they're just so much fun just seeing them talk to each other. It was a lot of fun. Um, but about my experiences with it, I definitely was very excited when it first started. I have definitely cooled down with it, unfortunately, only because I think I've grown to learn more about myself as a gamer. And ever since Animal Crossing New Leaf, I think I cooled down to open world games as much. I was hoping that with Pokopia that putting a skin over it and then having a big old world to explore was really cool. But I'm also a person that does like a bit more structure in their game. And when I go around seeing these amazing players on like random TikTok feeds and shorts on YouTube of like someone literally made the Infinity Castle yeah, uh from Demon Slayer in Pokopia. And it's full size, way up, lots of stairs. And I'm like, I'm just here building a kit with a little grass hut for my Bulbasaur and my Charmander to live in because they're roommates. And it's like it almost makes me feel discouraged to play. But it's not just that. I think it's because I have a hard time. I was the person who was taking like ash blocks and filling in gaps so I wouldn't fall through the water. And I wasn't going to go back and like build an actual bridge because I was like, I didn't feel like doing that. So I love the game for what it was. I appreciate, especially there is a lot of hidden lore in the games. When you get further along, you get to learn more and more about the world, which is very fascinating. But as a game itself, I probably won't go back to it as much unless I'm feeling in the mood for it. But it's still a really great game for what it is, and especially as a toolkit for some amazing people who are motivated and dedicated to the craft on our streaming services that play these things and build mansions and towers, and it's just amazing to see what people can do.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, guys. I appreciate it. That's all of us in here who played. Is that correct?
Yep.
As a Pokemon fan, do you have any interest in not only picking up a Copia, but picking up a different system for it, the way that Lynn did, the way that Aaron did?
Definitely down the line, I would. It's right now it's more like a financial issue. because even I had a hard time. I'm like, well, how am I gonna play ZA? I don't have a Switch 2. And then my husband's like, it's actually available on Switch. I'm like, bet, say less.
On that
But if it came
topic,
down to like interacting with getting the game ZA, I definitely would be down. I honestly, it reminds me a bit of Animal Crossing mixed with Pokemon, and I loved Animal Crossing.
yeah, I mean that's basically a part of what it's like, as far as the experience of that. But do you think, Azzy, it helps or hinders Nintendo to hide this game behind this console? Do you
I,
think that?
I
Mhm.
I think it hides it mostly for the fact that, given the circumstance, yes, it's a great marketing ex criteria. You want Nintendo to expand on their products. Um, but for the people that are like financially struggling a little bit and don't have the money to cough up for a Switch 2, it's kind of unfortunate because, I would love to play Pokopia. Like I said, Pokemon and Animal Crossing mixed together. I'm so in. I'd be making a whole castle and everything. My den for my kittens.
Absolutely. There are talks of maybe being a Switch 2 Lite that is a more affordable console that can probably run, Pocopia and things that are Switch 2 exclusives, right? Because like they made Tamagotchi Life available for Switch 2 and the Nintendo Switch. So like their reasoning behind different games, which games to include with both systems and which games to include on only the Switch 2, and it's all over the place. So thank you so much for your thoughts on that, Azzy. But for me, playing Pocopia, I was really excited for this game. It was made by the same team who made Dragon Quest Builders 2. And I love the Dragon Quest Builders game. You can see on our channel. I think I have like a video on Dragon Quest Builders. I talk about it all the time, and so I like it much better than Minecraft because there's something. It gives me something to do rather than just free range on whatever I want to do. Now I have grown to like those kind of games more with Breath of the Wild. Uh, you know, kind of be putting my feet in the water with that type of game, and has made my mind a little bit more open. But I love the just give me some stuff to do and I'll do it. So I like that. I like my Zeldas like that. I like my games like that. So I was really excited when I picked this game up finally. I know I I started it with my nieces. I have two nieces that are, I think they're like 12 and like 9. And we played it together. I think Abel was also there when we started the game. And we passed the controller to one another at the start of the game. So you wake up as this Ditto. Everyone's missing. What's going on? You meet your first Pokemon in this barren land. You meet Professor Tangrowth, and then you meet your first Pokemon. And we just had so much fun playing it together. I know this is a single player experience, but like I've said on this podcast before, like Phil and I have played several games and this single player games together. And that's how we've played some of these games. And the experience, don't knock a single player experience doing it multiplayer. I highly recommend that. I just saw AZI'S picture. But for Pocopia, I I was playing it and I was having fun. Things were going, the ball was rolling, and then I felt overwhelmed. There was a point where now I had too much to do. And it's like I always seem to just like I want more, and then like they give me what I want, and then I'm overwhelmed or I don't like it. And sometimes I think like, do I even know what I want from a game? Like, do I even like? And so that's why I give more chances to games that I wouldn't before. But I got a little bit overwhelmed with things to do, and I got a little stuck. You know how to get Onyx out of his little cubby, because I thought it would just be like, okay, I got to do this, so I'm going to do this, and it's like, oh, wait, okay, I got to do this now, and so I'm going to do that, and they're like, oh wait, you have to do this before you do this, and I'm like, and so it kind of got to a point where I was just like, I just want to free Onyx, free my
Hector,
boy Onyx.
Hector, your humidity is nowhere near the right level.
It's not, and why does it keep saying 71%?
Because you keep watering the grass.
I'm spraying the grass.
Don't even do that.
I'm
Don't spray
doing
the grass.
everything that they want me to do, and my island is still not humid enough. Slowpoke is getting on my nerves, and so I just want him to yawn. Can you yawn to make rain? Anyway, so I just got a little bit overwhelmed with all of the tasks, because it just seemed to be this Herculean task. I feel like what is it, Sisyphus rolling
Sisyphean,
yes, it's a Sisyphean task, rolling the boulder up the hill just to come down, and so just a little bit, right? And so I had to take a break from it. And you know what's funny? Because this game is task based. What is it? It's they give me quests to do. I had to go back to clean my palate. I had to go to a game that gave me freedom, and so I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom again.
Yes.
And so and sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to go back to a game that you've abandoned, and you find this new sense of love, you find this new sense of fun and
Drive.
whimsy, and they're like, why did I ever leave this place when I did? And so with Pocopia, I think I've just reached that plateau where I'm gonna have to take a small break from it. Then when I go back, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna catch my groove again. But the game, honestly, it is Pokemon with Dragon Quest Builders meets Animal Crossing meets Minecraft. And it's basically the best parts of all of those games with Pokemon. Just like Lynn and Aaron said, the Pokemon have more emotions, they have more personality, and just because there is an evolution, there's Pokemons from the same evolution, but they are two different beings. It is not so. You have a Charmander who's a boy, and then you get this Charizard who's a man Pokemon, and they're two different people. It's not the same Pokemon. It's literally a different being. It's a different personality, a different entity, a different soul in that body. And so that was really interesting to see, because then they're interacting. And then I don't know how if this is anything in the game later on, but I'm looking at Venonat and Bulbasaur. I think they're having a romance behind my back. Because they're just like, I like Bulbasaur. And Bulbasaur's like, I like Venonat. And I'm like, what's going on here?
So it's kind of like The Sims, but with Pokemon.
I'm going to have to douse them both. Because they're getting hot and heavy over there in the corner. Literally, I'm like, hey. I have to simmer down.
So it's
And
kind of like The Sims,
They were
but with Pokemon.
roommates.
They were roommates.
That could be a possibility.
I don't know. Lynn, can you speak on anything on that? Does anything happen?
I don't know. Not that I've noticed, to be honest, because they will, I've noticed that they do say that a lot about different ones. It's not just one. They all have, little moments with each other. And they'll be like, I like the way Spore Bunny smells. Or something like that.
So this sounds like The Sims, but with Pokemon?
No, it's more like Animal Crossing, I feel. More like Animal Crossing, because you do things for them. You can give them gifts and things like that.
And in Animal Crossing, the villagers, they complement each other. They're kind to one another. Oh, I like how so and so did their yard or whatever. I don't know. But I could sense that it might be more akin to that, as opposed to now they're started dating or something like that. Yeah.
Tamagotchi life.
It's not Tomodachi Life.
No, it's not that.
Yeah.
Nah, but I mean, like, this game is very interesting. It's done a lot of cool things for Nintendo. It's literally put their sales up, what I think about 13% or so, 32% or something like that. This for the Switch 2. So I understand why they kind of put it on the Switch 2 only. They want to do well. Make no mistake, though, the Nintendo Switch alone has been selling very well as also. So for those of us who still have our Switch OLEDs and our Nintendo Switch ones, which I do, I have it here. If it shows, I don't know if it's gonna show. It won't show. But anyway, I have it and I still play it because I'm not. Sometimes I don't feel comfortable taking my Switch 2 out in the world, so I take my Switch OLED or I take my Switch Lite. It's a little bit more portable. But anyway, Pocopia is kind of just it's getting the ball rolling, I think, on Pokemon, and it's bringing back good Pokemon games. So speaking on that, before we move on, does anybody have anything else to say that they want to get off their chest about Pokemon Pocopia?
I do
I
want to
wish I
say
had the game.
you will get it. You will get it eventually, and you'll love it. But Hector, I do want to say I know it can be overwhelming. I got overwhelmed with the humidity part too, but once you get past that, I feel like the rest of it isn't as overwhelming. But after I finished it, I have like all these ideas of things I want to build, and that's what overwhelmed me and kind of made me take somewhat of a break from it and play some Violet and whatnot. So I will say that.
Okay. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the human. Maybe y'all can. This is just an excuse to play online, and for y'all to walk me through what I'm supposed to do.
You're gonna need a little help, maybe.
Probably. We all need a little help
This
sometimes.
game, it goes off the beaten path of what Pokemon, how people look at it, of being a battling game, starting with from scratch, from nothing to becoming like the league champion. And so it's either Nintendo's either taking a risk or they're just wanting to explore other things. Whatever the reason, I think is wonderful, and I hope to create more games just like this and taking these risks. I was like, hey, what else can we do with these Pokemon? How can we be really creative with this and make it different, but still let it be Pokemon?
Absolutely. I highly agree. I highly agree that they need to be taking more risks. They need to be doing weird Nintendo things. The way that Nintendo does well. The way that they do these things where, like, they make stuff like the Wii, and it's incredible. They do things like the DS. They do things, weird things, that only Nintendo knows how to do. And they can do it, and Game Freak can do it. Game Freak can make a good game. Go ahead.
That actually reminded me of one thing that Nintendo did do with Switch 2 was mouse mode. And I will say mouse mode is so amazing with Pokopia because when you're breaking a whole bunch of blocks or trying to build something really big, mouse mode is such a time saver. Like, I will say that. Definitely don't sleep on mouse mode in this game.
I tried
I
mouse
wish
mode
it would
actually for the
remind
first
you.
time.
I wish it would remind you in the game that there is mouse mode because there was some couple of times that I wish I did not break that block and run out of energy and have to eat some berries.
Yeah, it is easier, but I think like sometimes I go back to controller because
Yeah.
it's comfortable, like. But I definitely understand it because sometimes I'll break a block and I'm like, that's not the one I wanted to break, or like
You don't even need to like I'll be playing like on my bed, right? And then like as you can see I have like this like thing that goes over my bed or I have like a little nightstand. Or even if I'm just like I can have any like a book. I've even used a book. I'm sitting on my bed and I'm playing with my controller and I just take the thing off, put it on the book to use mouse mode real quick and then pop it back on. Like it's just so seamless. It's wonderful.
interesting. I
Yeah.
gotta try that. Wow, I have lots of things to try now, which I'm so excited. But let's go ahead and go to the next thing. Pokemon Wind and Waves and the future of Pokemon. We all saw the trailer, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we have not had a chance to talk about this game yet on the podcast. So I'm really excited because I feel like we have a lot of minds here. We have a lot of different ways that people play games, a lot of different experiences. And so for me, this game looks incredible. I think that if they do this right, this might be a system seller for sure. Now, what Phil was talking about earlier is why the reason Game Freak seems to not be making quality games lately. People have a lot of complaints. People have a lot of gripes. People have a lot of things to say, negative things to say. I want to speak on that a little bit, and then I want to hear from y'all. I'm going to go at it. Let me have it, whatever, if you agree, disagree, what have you. But Game Freak is competent enough to make a good game. One of the problems is rushing. Before, with Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, things like that, it seems like they were keeping up with the anime. They had to make a new season of anime, they had to make new Pokemon, new cards, and they had to keep up. So every other year, they were coming out with new mainline Pokemon games. The games seemed rushed. They seemed really lazy. They took this laissez-faire approach to making and developing these games. And so I feel like that's what made everybody gripe. That was partially the reason for why everybody had things to say about the Pokemon games for the past, 9 years, 10 years. Even though they had a lot of great ideas, a lot of great mechanics, a lot of cool things, would have been better. It just felt rushed. And I think the proof of that is when Legend ZA was announced. They said, it's not coming this year, it's coming in 2025. This was 23 or 24? It's like, it's coming in 2025. Oh, wow. They're taking some time. And then when Wind and Waves was announced, it's coming in 2027. And so, they seem to be taking their time now. They seem to be realizing, all right, we have to go back to the drawing board. Now, if you look at Legends Arceus to Legends ZA, graphically, it is better. It runs smoother. Also, what was partially the issue? Hardware issues. The Switch, when it came out, the Switch 1, Switch OLED, Switch Lite, it was already outdated hardware. It was already, hardware that was way less than the PS4, Xbox One, PS5, Xbox Series X, Series S. It's just been behind. And that's how Nintendo has done things in the past, which is okay, which is fine. The thing is, on some things, they could not keep up. Nintendo developed Breath of the Wild. It has a certain art style. It runs a certain way. It runs smoother. Game Freak was used to doing these games that were in 2D when the 3DS came out. They had to, all right, we got to make these 3D renders. How are we going to do this? And it was good, but it was still a small screen. It was a 480 screen. And so they had to, it wasn't too big of a jump, but it still looked a little wonky. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. I love, X and Y were the first ones? Yeah. I love X and Y. I played X into the ground. I love it. But you could tell it looked washed out. It looked weird. It was a little, but I love the game, okay? And as technology kept up, they were playing catch up. And so by the time it got into the Switch, they just couldn't keep up with the time frame and the deadlines that, I don't know, Nintendo gave them or the Pokemon Company put upon themselves. Hey, this needs to come out because the new anime is going to come out next year. You need to push this out. Game Freak, you got to push this out. And so that was also partially the reason. Rush games and outdated hardware, in my humble opinion. Now, with the Switch 2, we have the hardware. We have the hardware. It runs games like Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. It runs things like Cyberpunk. It runs things incredibly well. All we need now is the time. And it looks like Game Freak is finally giving these games time to develop correctly. And my question for not only Wind and Waves, is it going to be good or not, and your thoughts, but is the Switch 2 the device? Is it going to be the device to finally give us good Pokemon games? Aaron, Professor Aaron, your thoughts, sir.
Okay, so there's definitely a big upgrade between Switch 1 and 2. It's not just Switch another one. It is genuinely a stronger system. And I I was very excited for the trailer for Wind and Waves. I can only pray that the biomes and the water look as good as it does in the trailers. We can only hope, especially because, of course, we've seen the trailer. They dive in the water at the end, and we haven't, to my knowledge, we haven't dove into water since Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald.
That's correct.
And that is such an underappreciated thing that I hope that we will get true underwater biomes. I hope and pray that we get sky biomes. It's called waves and wind and waves. I hope that we can, find Pokemon in the clouds. Granted, it'll be mostly flying types or Pokemon that just levitate and all that, but there's a lot of potential, and I'm very excited to see what they could do with it. Uh, I know a lot of. I was definitely excited when um, Scarlet and Scarlet and Violet came out, and they definitely bumped up the textures on the Pokemon. I think they did even more with this one because I remember seeing in some of the other trailers how like, man, Magnemite looks really made of metal right now. They did pretty good, and I hope they can continue with that because it's cool to see the textures on Pokemon. It's cool to see you know scales on a lizard like Pokemon or the fur and tufts moving in the wind of like a little mammal Pokemon or something like that. And Switch 2 definitely seems like it could be powerful enough. I think this could definitely be definitely will be a console seller if it when it finally gets the release date and everything. So I'm excited for it. I hope that they learn their lessons from a lot of the other because a lot of the previous games always had a really neat feature that they never fully fleshed out, but it was more of a proof of concept for that they applied later on. The giant air, the open area in Sword and Shield was kind of the open world concept for Scarlet and Violet. I hope that they've learned their lessons and also give Nintendo gives Game Freak time to cook when it comes to uh, allowing the graphics to allow us as trainers to be immersed in this new world. And the trailer blew me away. I'm very excited for it. I hope it looks as pretty, if not more so.
Absolutely. Abel, your thoughts.
Yeah, I would love to add on to that. First off, love the analysis, Professor Aaron. I could not agree with you more on that. I the big ticket item that I'm excited for with Wind and Waves, or I guess hopeful for, is something that I feel like we really need to take that next step into with Pokemon games, and that is interactive environments. With Pokemon games, we've had great environments before. We've had open world environments, but it's more so just kind of Pokemon just hanging out in the wild, and that's cool and all, being able to run into them and stuff like that. And sometimes they're in caves, sometimes they're on the water and stuff like that. But it's more so just they're placed in a setting as opposed to us actually interacting with not only the Pokemon but the setting itself in a very intuitive way. And so when you're saying things like, diving, right, and actually getting to go under the water and exploring the interacting with the environment more and the settings more, and how that correlates to how the Pokemon live, how they interact, battle systems. There's so many different avenues that you can go down with just the diving. But with wind, it's like there's so many different interactive ways that we can have aerial battles and things like that, and aerial exploration and stuff like that. Things that we've never really been introduced to before, and great concepts that I would love to see. I personally really loved diving in Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald. I enjoyed it a lot more than surfing. There's a lot of water exploration in Gen 3. Gen 3 is kind of notorious for having just like a lot of water in it.
And a lot of tentacles.
A lot of tentacles, a lot of tentacles, a lot of wingles,
A lot of Wiggles.
pelipers and all that stuff. Yeah. So, Gen 3 is kind of notorious for that. But at the same time, I think the only generation to have diving, that was just a Gen 3 exclusive. And they kind of just left it after that. But that's what I really loved about the water interaction in Gen 3, was getting to go underwater and having underwater exclusive Pokemon that you could only find underwater, like Clamperl and some other ones. I don't think Feebas was on some other ones. There was a couple that you can only find them if you were diving. And so that right there was a good sort of introduction, but they kind of just left it after that. And so the fact that we get to go back into a mechanic like that, I know with the, where we're at right now with the hardware and the Switch 2, what we're talking about, I know they have the ability to create some really interactive environments that I think are really going to propel the game. And the other question was, is this going to be the game to how did you phrase it,
It was
Hector?
the system. Is this going to be the system for good
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pokemon games again?
I totally feel like this is, and I totally feel like this game is going to propel the Switch 2. It's going to be a mutually beneficial thing. I think the Switch 2 is the console. We have the hardware, we have the capabilities of doing it, and it already seems like, Game Freak is starting to realize that they need to take their time. So I think all the chips are in the right, what do you call it? All the things
The
are
planets
set.
have aligned. All the
Yeah, all
stars.
the planets have aligned, right? And things are looking good. And so it's promising right now. And I think the Switch 2 is the device to have this next really amazing Pokemon experience. And I think Wind and Wave, specifically with these, gameplay things that they're hinting at, is going to be a really, really solid and fun interactive Pokemon game. So I'm very excited for it.
Nice. Azzy, your thoughts?
I completely agree. Going off of what Aaron and Abel said, um, the one thing I do hope for Wind and Waves is they add a aspect of, how in Arceus they had the different bio areas. My one hope is that they actually invest in a underwater biome where you can actually go underneath the water with your Pokemon and swim and see the environments the way you would in like any of the other biomes that they are available in each of the areas. Because it's interesting how it was made in black and white too, and like they had a scenic view of you going down deeper into the water riding your Pokemon, but what's missing was the interactive experience. I want to be able to swim around and find like a Remoraid or a Feebas and making Magikarp mad at me because I accidentally poked it. I want that experience, and that's the one thing I am hoping for Pokemon Wind and Wave coming, because it would just be the ultimate experience that they would be able to pull off this next time. Now, with the Switch 2 being the concept and the carrier of that game, I could see it happening, like you said, because they have more interactive and technology that would allow us to do that. It just depends on if Game Freak is capable of adding that biome or that experience where you can freely go into the water with your Pokemon of choosing. Like, say, I wanted to go in with the Squirtle, or if I wanted to go swimming with a Remoraid or a Milotic. It that would be like the ultimate experience, because I know, have you all seen the shorts for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, where it's like each of the gym leaders' trainings and everything?
I don't think I have.
You don't? Oh, well, you're definitely going to have to watch them. I'm not going to spoil them, but one of them is based on the water gym leaders. And it's her experience of how she first met one of her main Pokemon in the game. And it's so nice and it's so cute because it gave the aspect of being able to see life underneath the ocean, underneath water. And that's what the one thing I am looking and hoping for to look forward to with Pokemon Wind and Wave, because most likely I will be getting Wave first. Um, I want that experience. I sincerely love water.
Hey.
Can I throw in one more comment if it's okay?
Yeah, of course.
Um, I know from personal experience that Nintendo can definitely do underwater levels because I thoroughly enjoyed new Pokemon Snap. And that shows another aspect of interacting with Pokemon. I had a lot of fun with it. It didn't I guess it didn't feel the same as the as 64, but I still enjoyed myself very much. It was very cool seeing the different interactions. Like I remembered how they were in the original game, and the underwater levels were very interesting in there. And I know they can do well. There were some levels where you're diving down and you see a bunch of Jellicent just kind of hanging out. You're throwing it like whatever, like an apple or something at them, and like seeing them like spin around and like float up, and you have to like get ready to take a picture at the right spot. So we know that they can handle underwater levels, and if they could make it even better than new Pokemon Snap, I think they would be in business.
What's funny is
Oh,
that
I completely agree.
they didn't even develop that though. And that's the thing. Like
That's a
Game
good
Freak,
point.
every time Game Freak, even with what Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, that game looked great. It ran well on the original Switch. Guess what? Game Freak didn't make it. So like it just seems that every time Game Freak had help, like
It went well.
it went well. And that was another point that we've made on the podcast before, is that if Game Freak couldn't catch up, if they couldn't do it, why not reach out? They can still get the money. They would just need help developing it.
Nintendo did something similar with uh Super Smash Brothers Ultimate when they got into bed with wait, was it not Koei? Was it Koei Tecmo? No, who helped
Wait, you
develop
said Smash Bros?
Smash Bros?
Well, I know Sakurai made those games.
Yeah, but oh, now I feel like I should have researched before I brought it up. But another company helped develop the game along with Nintendo, and it ended up being great. And if we can get like another developer party to work with Game Freak and really pump up the everything, I think it would go really well.
I agree. But Lynn, where are you at with the wins and waves, and whether or not the Switch 2 is going to be the console to pop Pokemon off again?
Well, honestly, I agree with everyone here. I really think the Switch is the system that we're finally going to see what we've been wanting out of Pokemon games. Uh, I'm super excited for it. I'm like I said, I'm indecisive, so I still haven't decided wins or waves yet. I think I need to wait for more footage. Um, but I have high hopes for it based off what we've seen so far, and just because like Sword didn't really stand out too much to me, and then I haven't really played too much of Violet quite yet. But from what I've seen so far, it just feels, I don't know, so far to me it just feels kind of empty, if that makes sense. And one of the things that really makes it feel that way for me for Violet is like the fact that, well, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't gotten that far, but so far I haven't been able to go into anybody's house. And I feel like that's like a really key thing that's like been in all the previous games. You could just go into anyone's house.
That was also one of my gripes, not only with those Pokemon games, but with Legends ZA.
Oh, really? That one too? Oh
Yes,
no!
Yeah, you
Phil's
can't go
laughing
into
because he
random
knows
people's
exactly
homes.
what I'm talking about.
Like, why can't I go in and dig through your trash? Like, hello?
You're
Because my,
throwing
my
away a useful Pokeball.
and my point was in Pokemon, in a lesser looking game, in Pokemon X and Y, I was able to go everywhere. I
Yeah,
was able to go
everywhere.
inside every building. And that
That's
was part of the immersiveness of the game. Like, that's what made up, that's the gameplay that Phil's talking about. That's that good gameplay that made up for what lacked in graphics, what lacked in polish, the way that X and Y look. That was the gameplay. That honestly it was going into that building, seeing that old man who gave me a Pokemon, and then I go back and he died. Like, that's part of that immersive gameplay where I can go inside that building and it's like another story.
The Ghost Girl too. That's
The
another
Ghost
popular.
Girl, yeah.
it's
I
just a
do have,
classic.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I do have to add though, it would be funny if they did add that concept to the newer games where we go inside their houses because it's like one, they're gonna be more detailed and everything, but two, it's like, hi, how are you? I'm here to steal your stuff.
Yeah, it's a classic Pokemon experience to be able to just go in someone's house, just run around, talk to them. And then
Take
I thought it
stuff.
was kind of I think I don't remember which generations, but further down the line, at some point, they even kind of like joked about it. They were like, "Hey, you can't just come in here without like, what are you doing?" Like, so I thought that was kind of funny. And then just to see that all go away was just kind of
I
it.
wonder because if you guys have noticed, the NPC, the main characters have gotten older in several of the other games, and I wonder if it's not as charming as when you were playing an 11-year-old and a main character as you are now, like an upper teen now. And it's like, a hooligan in Poke France. You shouldn't be breaking into my house.
You're a grown adult. What?
All
Where's
I,
your,
ha- I have to
where are your parents?
All I have to say is my one requirement with from Game Freak is they better keep all the hot moms.
No problem.
I can't
But
really speak too much on that because the mom in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee looks exactly like my mom.
oh, it's awkward.
I was just like, oh my god, they made my mom.
Hi, mom.
But I don't know. I know it's kind of small, but to me, it just feels like something like that just kind of takes the life out
No,
of the game
I
for me.
agree. I think mostly everybody in here
Yeah.
agrees.
Well, not just that, but also like the Poke Centers. They're like outdoor. Like there's no experience of going into the Poke Center, going into the Poke Mart. Like it just so far. I mean, I haven't gotten too far into it. I'm sure there's other buildings I could go into, but just the experience of not being able to go into any door. It just feels like as the games have progressed, there's less and less doors you can go into. Because in
Also,
Sword, oh
the,
yeah,
the the reason why it looks so barren, why it looks so empty, and this is a problem in ZA as well. The environments are copied and pasted. If you look at the background, you look at the mountains, they're literally copied and pasted. Just especially with the buildings in ZA, with all of that, it's just a JPEG. Even in Legend ZA, the balconies, they're not balconies, they're flat. Like,
aw,
and like there was like, okay, well, they made it flat because it made it run better. Like that way, when you're going walking around, there's no pop in or less pop in and pop out. But like, I don't know. Is it like it's a small thing, but it does like take away. I'm just like, okay, they literally just like it's lazy. It's lazy development. Like, what would you if you went to go see a movie? Okay, a Marvel movie. Marvel and Disney have hella money. The Pokemon company, has a bunch of money. They are literally the most profitable franchise of all time, still to this day. They make the most money. They make more money than Disney, make more money than Star Wars, make more money than whatever, like everything. And the way that they're so lazily developing these games, why? But really quick, Phil's over there. He's ready to talk. But before we let him go, Lynn, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Just that I have high hopes for it. Like graphically, I really hope that they kind of improve on those quality of life things that they've really missed out on the past few games, and kind of just clean up some of those shortfalls from Sword and Shield and Scarlet Violet. But it has the potential to be a beautiful game. I just waiting to see which one I'm gonna get at this point. And I think the Switch 2 definitely is needed for it because of how well it runs games. So I'm excited.
Nice. Thank you. Phil, have at it. Muted. There you go.
Okay, so I want to level with everybody, and I agree 100% that I hope that the graphics and the animation of this game blows the previous titles out of the water. And even though I'll admit that Pokemon ZA, as far as visual presentation, wasn't the most wasn't the most impressive. It was irrelevant to my gaming experience, but why I want the next Winds and Waves to be visually appealing, I'll give some examples. So let's say I'm fighting with a fighting Pokemon. Let's say I'm fighting with Machoke, and they do something like Seismic Toss, and they throw that Pokemon into a tree. I want that tree to break. Yeah, I want the tree to break. Like, yeah, I want it to look visually appealing. I want to see the hurt in that after that Seismic Toss. When I see Charizard doing a fire blast on somebody, I want them to be roasted like turkey or something. I don't know. Or if you have Pikachu in the water and it does like some sort of thunderbolt lightning attack, I want everything in the water to turn into sushi. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Other things. So I feel like there are so many like mega evolutions, and sometimes I lose track of it. Someone who's not fully caught up. I hope that uh, Game Freak can have more strategy with the moves. That's why I love. That's why I love Pokemon Stadium, because when I played Pokemon Stadium, I I would choose the Pokemon, but I couldn't choose the moves that they have. So everything was always strategic. When I was playing, when I played the Gen One Pokemon with Charmander, I was very limited on how I could beat Brock and Misty. Towards like, look, I just have to level up my Pokemon just to win, and as opposed to having like a decent strategy to overcome um, type differences or disadvantages. So if I can see more strategy in the move set and how these Pokemon can attack and fight, hey, that'd be great. Other things as far as like leveling up, what would I like to see different from the previous titles? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not fully caught up, but I think of Yu-Gi-Oh sometimes, where some of the card monsters were actually they were like body parts or something for the duelists. Like they'll have like Joey Wheeler and Yu-Gi-Oh! He'll have like a set of cards and he'll look like Mega Man. He'll be fighting like that. I would love to see like Pokemon become like body armaments, like Gundam Wing or something. That's something we've never seen. I want to see a Pokemon trainer fight wearing Pokemon or something and then go into battle. That'd be pretty hard. It's wild, but that's how I feel.
I
Game
could see
Freak,
that.
please hire him. Please hire him, Game Freak.
Game Freak. He's up for hire.
Um, leave it to Phil to bring this like the weirdness. I feel like Phil and Nintendo are a match made in heaven because they both like
Break the
bring
mold.
something that is so out of left field, but it works. You know.
My man Phil's a contrarian. What can we say?
He has an imagination. That's what's good.
That's what makes him the flying Hawaiian, the flowing Samoan, the alolan
But
Pokemon
I'm
himself.
on board with you. Like I want to see more visual, better graphics and more visually appealing Pokemon games. I think the criticism on Pokemon ZEA, as much as I loved it, was legitimate.
It's the
That
first
is
time I
true.
heard you say that.
There you go.
Wow,
It's
finally giving
you
me my
gotta do it
flower. Are you
right.
finally giving me my flowers?
I'm just acknowledging. I love the game. No, I love the game. I think it's a great game.
I think it's awesome too. I didn't say it was a bad game.
I'm not giving you flowers with that, but I'm agreeing with you on the graphics. Okay. Well,
All right, all right.
yeah.
So as far as Wind and Waves, did you see the trailer? What do you think? Like, do you think this is the start to good Pokemon games again on the Switch too? He's giving me the thumbs up. Um, yeah, I mean, like we all love Pokemon. We all have our own story. We've all had our own journey. We all like the things that we all have the things that we like and the things that we hate about this franchise, about these games. And so I think all we want, that everybody is in agreement, we just want a competent game. That is all we want. We want a game that makes us feel like we did when we picked up Red and Blue, when we picked up Black and White, when we picked up Ruby and Sapphire, when we picked up Pokemon Stadium. We want that same feeling. And for a long time, I don't know if it's because we've grown up. I don't know if it's because Game Freak can't make a game, can't make it possible anymore. I don't know what it is, but I think for me, Legend ZA started that ball rolling again. Because we battled, I was able to... It was more immersive. I actually saw the Pokemon out in the wild. They started it. I would start it sometimes. You saw Thundershock. You saw Water Gun. You're seeing these moves in real time. You're dodging out of the way. And like Arceus was a stepping stone, of course, but I think ZA is what like made it like, oh man. Like, this is cool. Like, this is cool. Like, and I agree. The gameplay is magnificent. It is. It just seemed like I want more. It's like okay, you're going in the right direction. Like, I feel it. I feel it coming. It's like the build up. It's like, all right, like what else you got? Like. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited to, not only for these games to come out, but when they come out, I'm excited to talk with you guys more. I'm excited to discuss it. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. What worked for you? What doesn't? What you loved, what you hated, and we all have different takes. We all have different opinions, but I think in the essentials, we all want the same thing. We're all on the same team. And so I love that. But this has been such a great show, you guys. If it was up to me, I could talk about this all day. But I know we all got jobs. I know we all got to wake up in the morning. But I want to thank each and every person here on this panel, on this podcast, for making it a great show. I think this is one of my favorite shows that we've ever had. I think Abel can agree. And especially because he's in good company with all of his thoughts and opinions. Because I've done nothing but crap on them for the past 5 years.
Yes.
Not in a bad way, but just like
Black and white. Let's go.
we have disagreements. That's all. But
You finally invited Abel's echo chamber, and he's happy about it.
I think he's found his constituency for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much for being a part of this show. For those watching and listening, remember you can always like and subscribe. Please, you can rate us 5 stars, whether it be on Spotify, whether it be on Apple Podcasts. Remember, this show is also sponsored by W. W is a powder-based energy. It can get you ready for the morning. It can get you hyped for the night shift. It can do both. You can get 10% off when you use our code NIN10. That's NIN, the number 10. W. You're going to love it. It's going to get you energized. Also, guys, we have new merch. We have Pokemon Pokopia themed merch. It is a shirt that says Nintendo Friends, and on the back it's got Ditto and Drifloon holding each other, acting like a couple of Nintendo Friends, literal Nintendo Friends. And it is going to be in the link down below as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link and go get it, go buy it. It's an awesome shirt. So we have new merch, we have new music on the way as well. Remember, just look up NTFDS in Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music. That's NTFDS. It's got me and Abel in cartoon form. We do video game covers, and we have a Zelda one on the way still. But in the meantime, you can listen to the music that we do have. Thank you so much to all of our panelists today, all of our podcasts, all of our fellow Nintendo friends. We hope that you guys can be with us again. And this has been an awesome show. One of my favorite experiences. Thank you guys. You can also follow AZI. Her link is going to be down below. Lynn is also going to be down below. Everybody, just thank you so much for being a part of this. And I hope to see you guys again.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Is there anything that you'd like to say before we leave the show? Anybody at all?
As the Pokemon professor, I think we discussed me giving you one random factoid.
That's right.
So, Phil, I don't know if you were aware, because I know you haven't played too many of the more modern games. Some Pokemon have gender differences. There is one Pokemon whose gender difference is practically 1 pixel big, and it is actually the fire starter from Gen 3, Torchic. And the male has a little black spot on its tail feather, and it's somewhat of a reference to people who check the gender differences for chicks in factories, because where they check the cloaca for a bump, and the male has the black dot that shows it's a male.
I did not know that.
I did
The
not.
male has the black dot.
The male has the black dot on its tail feather. The female does not.
Oh.
I knew the difference in the game because I love Gen 3, but I didn't know that it was correlating to an actual real world.
Wait, they show that in the game?
It's hard to see.
It's hard to
in
see, but the
early
sprite,
games.
yeah, you can see
Yeah,
it.
but as the 3D models got around, you could see the little male has a little black dot on its butt.
I'm gonna have to go check on my Torchics in my Pokemon home.
And now you'll be able to tell if it's male or female without looking at the astrological symbol.
Thank you, Professor.
Does it show? Okay, what are you, Luke? Thank you,
Oh, yeah.
Professor
Thank you,
Aaron,
Professor Layton.
Professor Layton. Does it show it on Pokemon Go as well?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
it's there.
The more you know. Yeah. Well, thank you, Professor Aaron, for that fun fact. Look forward to many more in the future. But guys, again, thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. I appreciate each and every one of you. But that is all the time we have. So we will see you on the next one. Everybody say bye.
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 Bye.